So hi and welcome back, and I'm back sitting in front of the camera with the computer, and you can't see it because I know it's out of focus. There's some new colour film which no one's talking about in the background, and that's coming up in my next video, so don't forget to subscribe to watch that, or come back and watch it anyway. But I wanted to talk to you about buying cameras, and specifically buying cameras from Japan. Now I'm going to go through a few first, because about 50% of the cameras I've ever bought, say from eBay, I've had to go back, and lenses as well. So we're going to start with the Mamiya Nc100s. I bought this from a seller that was actually selling lots of different cameras, and when I checked it, the light meter was about 3 stops out. And I worked this out because I had another camera I was working with at the time. I took it out, and I contacted them and said, look, it doesn't work, I'm going to send it back. And they said, well, can't you just change the light meter to match up what you're doing? Well, no, that doesn't make sense. There's no point in me doing that. I'm likely to make mistakes. And they offered me like 50 quid off. And I said, no, I want my money back. I did have a Canon EOS 100. Again, I bought that. They said it'd been tested and used. They'd probably only just switched it on and pressed the shutter, and it probably would have come across as being fine. However, it didn't work properly. When I put a battery and a film in, it just wouldn't auto wind. There was no power in it. Again, that had to go back. No good at all. Also, there was a Prinz Galaxy lens, which is a Japanese Praktica lens, and it was part of a bundle they used to sell through Dixon's years ago, and I had one in the past. And when I got it, the first one, I actually had 3 of these before I got one that worked. The first one, it was threaded, so you couldn't actually screw it onto the camera. Again, contacted the seller. Oh, if I give you 10 quid back, will you keep it? Well, why would I do that? So that was a no-go. So the next thing was I bought an Olympus lens, and it was a 28mm 3.5, and the first one I got wouldn't lock on. So basically what happened is, where the bayonet clicks in place and locks in place, that was not working at all. That had completely broken. So again, they said, oh, don't bother sending it back, and they weren't going to be able to repair it. So I literally had to throw it away. It was no use to me, and eventually managed to get one that was working. I don't want to make this too long because it's not that type of video where you go in depth into things and look at things. So I think the biggest mistake I ever made was buying a Yashica from Japan, a Yashica Electro GTN. And when it arrived, it looked the part. It had been cleaned well. However, everything had been over tightened. It was difficult to set the ISO. It was difficult to change the aperture. It was really, really stiff. I took it out, run a film through it, and I think I used some Ferrania. So I'd not used Ferrania before, testing it in a new camera. I get it back, and all the actual scans, they're all fogged. And I thought it was something to do with developing, and I checked and checked again. I held the camera up, and the lens was fogged. And I read back through what he said, and he said a tiny piece of fogging. And anyway, so I contacted him, and this is where the problems start. Now, bearing in mind you've purchased it from Japan, you then have to pay import tax, and they won't release the camera from the courier until you've paid it through the courier to whoever it might be, whoever's that goes to. So you have that to start with. So that's another £30. I think it was about £30 for me. Then it's tracked and it arrives, and then I've gone through this process of cost me a film, cost me an extra £30, and then I find out there's something wrong with it. The process took nearly 2 weeks just to communicate with this person, because obviously they're Japanese, I'm English, time differences and all that. And then I explained to him he had to pay for the return postage, and he was having none of it. And in the end, he was convinced by eBay that he had to pay for the return postage because it was a faulty camera. And I then had to hunt around for the best value. So there's hours spent me going around the different places, finding out the best bet. The cheapest was the Royal Mail. I then had to get him to pay the money into my PayPal account, and then I had to send it back to him, and the money wasn't refunded until they received the camera back. But I looked at getting the £30 back for the import tax, and it was a pointless exercise. So you're looking at, by the time I've done all the different things I'm done, you're looking at £45, a wasted film, wasted developing, all those sorts of things, to have a camera get sent back to Japan. That's why I won't buy a camera from Japan anymore, for that simple reason. There are now really, really good sellers in the UK. I've been looking at different cameras. In fact, there's one on the screen. It's a GTN I'm looking at buying, and I can tell these people know what they're doing. They know how to test the cameras. They film test them. They check all the different apertures and shutters. So I'm more confident now in buying them. Plus the prices have started to come down as well. The craziness of the prices is coming down, which is really, really great. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with that film that I told you about.